Hello everyone, and welcome to a new playthrough of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. This one should be exciting, I hope. It's going to be my real tournament game for week 4 of Crawl Sudden Death Challenge 4. We're playing the Troll Enchanter. You can go back in the video lists and see my practice games for this tournament. Because Troll Enchanter is not the best. And I played a few practice games to see what works. Not only is Troll Enchanter, yes, attack barehanded, it's fine. Troll Enchanter isn't the best, and there are some challenge goals that made things a little bit hard. So this is the real deal, though. Needles, stones, large rocks, yes. And we... so this is going to matter, basically, I guess is what I'm getting at. The practice games, the first approach I tried, going Zom, just did not work at all. So if you haven't watched the practice games, you may not know what the constraints of this event are. I get one shot to play a Troll Enchanter and earn as many tournament points as I can. There is a slight exception. If I die below level 5, so at level 4 or lower, you get one mulligan, one do-over. Honestly, it's pretty hard to do that as a troll, to die that low. I mean, you can do it, but I hope I won't. I certainly didn't during any of the practice games. Even if you get cornered by like several jackals, trolls are pretty good. And furthermore, so I have to play as Troll Enchanter for this week. Furthermore, there are some bonus goals that I can get more points for achieving. Javelins. First is to kill Garyon, who's the guardian of the Vestibule of Hell, before getting into any of the lair rune branches. Swamp spider, snake, and shoals, and I guess slime too. I assume. I didn't actually check, but I'm not going into slime anytime soon. And then after that, the next challenge goal is to have my first rune be from Hell or Pandemonium, basically. So steal it from some kind of demon lord. You could also kill the demon lord, and as a troll, that's probably what we're going to do. But it's important to remember that getting runes does not have to mean killing the things guarding them. You can run away from stuff often. Adders are just a nightmare. So, okay, cool. Good work, Javelin. So in my last practice game, and spoiler alerts coming up if you're planning to watch the real game and then the practice games or something, I'm probably going to tell you how they went, so it seems like a silly order to do things. But, there's the spoiler alert if you were planning that. In the last practice game, we did successfully kill Garyon and then basically just called it a game. And so, additionally, each week there's a couple of gods that you get bonus points for worshipping and getting the 6 stars with. And they're typically gods who are not very common choices for this combo. This reminds me, I want to go upstairs and identify some scrolls. Okay. So this week, those gods are Zom, god of chaos and just kind of not being very friendly to his followers, and Sifmuna, god of just like magic in general. Sif likes you to train magic skills and use them. Doesn't really care what kind of magic. Vehemet is the last choice, god of destructive magic. And As a troll, like 14 is still safe. Okay. As a troll, learning any kind of magic is not impossible, but it's tough. And so I tried going Zom because he's one of those gods who isn't magic focused. But honestly, Zom is like worse than being atheist. If I were going to go Zom, I would like do it on the Ascension run. Like get the Orb of Zot and on the way out grab a Zom altar. You're allowed to. So you have to get your god to 6 stars of piety before you abandon them, or 6 stars of piety in order to get the tournament point. And after that, you can abandon them if you want. The problem is that Zom doesn't have a real piety system. What altars are in here? Zin, okay. So if you're going to worship Zom or Gozag, who has a similar problem, you have to just never abandon after taking him. And Zom is just such a nightmare that I'm not going to do that. Rather, I'm going to worship Vehemet was my plan. The next words out of my mouth, and look here, Vehemet altar, who's going to give me a bunch of magic-related powers that I like don't care at all about. And then once I get to 6 stars, I'm going to abandon Vehemet for Okawaru. And I've played with the idea of picking a god other than Okawaru. Like, he's not the only reasonable choice, but he is a pretty good choice, and he's one that is an obvious choice, and when I tried him in the practice game, it went fine, so I'm not really excited to change the plan now in the real game. A bunch of undead bats, okay. Not Zom. So Vehemet is going to be kind of annoyed that we chose to worship Vehemet and then abandon. So there's going to be some god wrath. Okay, vampire bats. These are in yellow. This is kind of a problem, I think. I want to find a better place to fight, and I'm not sure how far away I can afford to get. Like, do I just stand here and assume they won't find their way around the choke point, or do I try and retreat all the way back here? I'm not really sure, but either way, going here first seems all right. Okay, I guess I'm running all the way back. Fine. This is not good at all. What about potions? I haven't identified anything good. The stupid vampire bat is healing off of me. Got him. Let's throw a javelin at him. Oh yeah, that worked. And another javelin? Okay. Whew. Because we're level 5 now. No dying. This is it. This is for real. This is going to be the game that counts. Week 2 was a disappointment because I did die at level 5. In weeks 1 and 3, I got the full 10 points available that week. So after the death in week 2, which was obviously disappointing, I decided I should really be playing practice games because you don't just want to dive into a tournament game that's you only get one chance at without knowing like sort of what to expect. Look, a human corpse. Cool. And I've found that that's been pretty okay. A spear and a halberd, and I'm in a dead end here, so I'm gonna back off as much as I can and hope the one with the halberd doesn't see me. And throw some javelins at this guy. The javelins are a big early find, I think. You know, trolls have a decent throwing aptitude, although I haven't trained it at all. But gnolls are just they're a big problem. So let's hit this guy with a javelin and then back. Uh-oh. I'm in a net. Let's back up. Got him. Where's the one with the halberd? I guess he didn't hear all the commotion. Still more gnolls. There's a lot of gnolls. Gnolls are a big problem in the early game. You know, fortunately, I'm a troll, so trolls are a big solution to problems in the early game. I'm starting to run low on javelins, but they're on the floor. I can just pick them back up mostly. Honestly, I've completely lost track of what my train of thought was before I started having to deal with these gnolls. It's something about practicing, right? Yeah, that sounds right. So in week 3, I played, I think, 3 practice games, and the first one was a disaster. I died at level 5 again. And then I died at like level 11, and then the third practice game, I made it to level 14 or 17 or something, and I accomplished all the goals I wanted to that game, basically. Found out what I did was a bad idea, and did the other thing instead. 3 spell levels. Let's take Confuse. And this week I played 3 practice games, and the first one taught me I don't want to go Zom. The second one, I made some kind of big blunder. I died really early somehow, and I don't really remember how or why. But game 3, I feel like I had gotten to the point where I could get all 10 points for the week. So you get a point for killing your first unique enemy. You get a point for reaching the end of any branch, including dungeon. You get a point for entering any branch, not including dungeon, because you enter dungeon as soon as you start the game. Wait, what kind of portal is that? It's just an empty arch, or what? Yeah, okay. I briefly thought that it was like a portal to hell just for flavor. And now would be a bad time to try to kill Garyon. Unique, enter branch, end branch. You get the god point. And then there's 3 points for bonus challenges and 3 points for like win conditions. You get 1 point for killing Garyon this week before entering a lair branch. And 1 point for getting a Pandemonium or Hell rune first. And you get a point. Did I say 1 point? You get 2 points for the second thing, for getting the Pan rune first. You get 1 point for your first rune, 1 point for your third rune, and 1 point for winning. So that's 10. And there's some tournament-wide bonus goals that you can only get once, like win a game with all 15 runes. So like I already got that out of the way. And the biggest challenge goal is win a game without visiting lair at all. And I've got that out of the way as well. That one was rough. But I'm glad I don't have to do that again, because it's quite a challenge. Maybe a troll could do it. I don't know, but I wouldn't want to do it while also doing this week's challenge goals. I did it in week 1, where the challenge goals were like focused around not going to lair. So it was like, oh, you know, just do the challenge goals, but a little bit more, which obviously was harder than just doing the challenge goals. But it was the best time to get it in, if possible, and it was for me. Sure, evasion, great. Hit him with a javelin. Javelin. So I don't know. The early game, I mentioned in my last practice game that the troll early game is pretty samey, which is not to say that it's not dangerous. I still have plenty of room to mess up, because everything on a troll feels really easy, and you get lulled into the sense of like, I can kill anything, I just have to hold down tab, which is not really far off from true, to be honest, but you have to recognize when it's not true. Unarmed combat at 7 is getting to the point where I think I want to work on defense now, because we're killing stuff pretty easily. Let's just do that, maybe. Focus on armed combat and train some other stuff. Teleportation, that's good to know about. Enchant weapon, okay. Fog and enchant armor is great. So I'm not sure exactly what part of this game is going to be the hardest. Like, I had a kind of rough time. I guess in my last practice game, I dove much farther into dungeon than I needed to because I had missed the Vehemet altar. If I had explored more carefully, I would have entered the lair much earlier and had less of a challenge. I think that was the hardest part, was like handling dungeon 12 before lair. Like, what an idiot, right? This game, I won't be doing that because A, I know I don't have to, and B, like, I already have the Vehemet altar. Let's try to, can we sneak up on this Orc Priest, maybe? I guess it's better to not fight him at all. This is not really under dispute. Yeah. I'm going to wait until later. Try to clear the rest of the floor first. Because he can... Okay, the imp has shouted, which probably woke up the Orc Priest, sadly. Let's find the stairs. Let's retreat. The Crimson Imp is not a big deal. Like, I don't think he can even hurt me. Not at the speed that I regen, and he deals damage. But I didn't want to get caught out in the middle of nowhere and get ambushed by other stuff who heard the Crimson Imp. And you got to be cautious like that, in especially the early game where you are short on escape options and can't really control the dungeon. You're sort of constantly running away from things. This is like my second artifact. Yeah, I found a crude hand axe, 2 artifact armors already. Too bad I can't use regular body armor, huh? Was that a centaur skeleton and a giant frog skeleton? Maybe I should back up into a corridor. Get their attention. Okay. I don't know why they're in yellow. They're not really that big a deal. They're fast, I guess, is the main thing, so you can't necessarily run away from them. Book of Minor Magic is like the only... one of the very few books I would want to buy. Because it has Blink, basically. How hard is it to learn Blink? I could get it going. That would be a big, big help. Yeah, to get out of bad spots. I think I'll take it. Like, I'm not gonna go heavy into magic, obviously. But, you know, I'm willing to spend some money on Blink. Because it'll get you out of spots where you otherwise are just sort of trapped, which can happen in especially the early game. Found Blinking, okay. So I don't have the spell levels to learn Blink yet. I have to either train spellcasting, which I'm not going to do, or level up a bit. So I'm just gonna, I think I just need to level up once, yeah. Yikes, that was some corrosion. Null Sergeant, that's a little early for him, so let's just say no, thank you. Can learn Shock, still gonna pass on all that junk, Vehemet. You know, if Vehemet would offer me like Blink, I would take it, but that's impossible because Blink doesn't do damage. with no weapon. Okay, he shouted, so we're going to back off for whoever his friends are find us. And now it should be fine. A null with a whip who has shouted, so we're backing off again. Just because we're a troll doesn't mean we have to fight like a troll, right? We're being controlled by a human, i.e. me, and can behave intelligently instead of foolishly. And in the early game, caution like this, oops, is really vital. Because you never know when a fight could go south, and if you can be diligent about always isolating enemies. Come on, Centaur. Where possible, anyway. You can really limit the scope for disaster. Something sort of unrelated to that, but I was talking about just limit the scope for disaster made me think about it, is I was talking to somebody, to GammaFunk, who does some cool videos on Twitch, if you're into that. His are in tiles. He plays console, but spectates himself so that viewers can see tiles. And he does speed runs, so like, which is very different from what I'm doing, which is I'm basically playing. I mean, when I'm not playing in a tournament, I'm generally playing for win rate, kind of. I mean, I could get a much better win rate by playing only like really strong characters, like Minotaur Berserker over and over. I'm sure I would win like 75% of games or something. But I don't want to do that. But I do want to like play interesting characters, and then once I started them, I try to win. Whereas GammaFunk is trying to get the high score for particular characters or races or backgrounds or something. Which means playing extremely aggressively and dying a lot in pursuit of like that perfect game. Let's go back upstairs. I wonder if we can just isolate this Null Sergeant, but you know what? I'm not going to. If I could isolate him, I don't want to. I just want to run away. That's safer. So I was talking to him about this video series, and something he pointed out that I thought was interesting, but I'm not quite sure what to do with yet, is that because it's recorded rather than live, a way that I could structure this, ooh, yikes, would be as like lessons, right? I could release a video that's like how to survive Dungeon 1, you know, how to play an enchanter or whatever. Maybe for more complicated stuff, I would do multiple videos. I don't really know exactly what I have to give lessons on, you know, and just sort of taking the games I'm already playing and narrating them is the easy answer. So that's what I'm doing for the moment. But I like the idea of more focused lessons. I'm just not quite sure how to implement it. I'm also not sure what to do with this Orc Warrior, which is why I'm talking instead of fighting. I have Lignification, and I think there was another on the floor that I almost picked up. Yeah, what happened to it? It's right there. Okay. And I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. I don't know what happens when a troll turns into a tree. Like, does your unarmed combat actually get weaker because you don't have claws anymore? What else would I quaff? Might would certainly do it. Haste would do it. I could quaff neither and then use heal wounds as a backup. I think what I want to do is like Lignification, except that I'm not sure that that's really a buff. I could throw some javelins, of course. I could, if I am going to Lignify, I should back up to like here or something to make sure that nobody follows us. So the last thing I want is a Null Sergeant showing up with a halberd and poking me to death from range while I'm a tree and can't move. Scrolls. I have teleportation, so that's cool. Oh, and I think I could learn Blink. Now is a bad time in, the middle of a dangerous combat, but it's something I should remember to do when this is over. Yeah, so let's back up to like here, right? I'm going to quaff lignification. Well, I'm going to throw the javelins first, and then I don't know, maybe we'll see something that makes me decide not to quaff lignification. But that didn't happen. So let's quaff lignification. And what happened to my claws? I don't have claws. Okay. But I have a ton of armor. And I presume reasonable damage, right? Yeah, okay. And who knows? Maybe I didn't need to do that, and like it would have been fine to just tab him. But lignification is pretty strong early game, and it falls off pretty quickly into the mid game. So it's sort of a resource that I'm going to lose anyway, in that I will stop wanting to ever use it. So I don't mind using it there, even if it was maybe an overreaction. Okay, there's the Null Sergeant. Let's back off again. I presume he's got some other Nulls that he's sort of chilling out with. Like, I don't think you can ever see a Null Sergeant completely by himself in the dungeon. Ooh, a shield. Yeah. So let's turn that on as well. I lost, I think, 2 evasion. I had 12, now I have 10. But I gained 6 shield, so I'm going to just keep training shields. This looks all right. And we're still only at 2 pips of Vehement Piety. Let's actually pick up Lignification. What? Did I just hit like a bunch of crazy buttons? I did. I typed lignification in here, and so it just totally toggled a bunch of stuff I didn't really want to toggle. Or I got partway through typing it anyway. Okay. So, meanwhile, I do want potions of lignification. Okay. Another Null Sergeant. That's interesting. And one of our javelins mulched. We only have 6 now rather than 7. Oh well. But I think I'll just throw some stones. We didn't even hurt the last Null Sergeant with javelins, and it went fine, so... Okay. He has a shield too. A triple sword. Wow! Another Null Sergeant! This is madness! What are they all doing here? Like, is there a Null Lieutenant? No such thing exists, but I'm expecting one now. Or is Sergeant... Sergeant is below Lieutenant, right? Like, a Lieutenant would be in charge of Sergeants. Yeah. In any reasonable hierarchy that I'm aware of. An Ogre. This is a tough spot here. Just so many things. Try a wand. I mean, I can probably handle him just with tab, like all of this stuff here. Sort of something a troll can say about almost any enemy is, I can probably just tab him, in the early game. But if you can't, it's pretty expensive to be wrong with something that has high damage output, because it can just murder you and then you're dead. And that's the end of your tournament career. I'm going to step into the temple just so I know if Okuwaru's in there. I want to have explored all the reasonable temple or altars. So have we found Okuwaru yet? I don't think so. No. Okay, fine. Having found a Dungeon 3 Vehement altar was pretty... Right? That's where it was? Vehement Dungeon 3. Yeah, it's pretty good. Much better than the Dungeon 9 I got last time. On the other hand, you know, last time I found an Amulet of Faith, and so I was able to get Piety pretty fast. 5 Shimmering Altars as He does enjoy a good joke, and he's a bit vain. A Swamp Drake. And an escape hatch in the floor? What? How do you even get in here? Azam is weird, man. You know? I guess I should have seen that coming. Shafts around a Zom vault makes sense. Oh my god, really? Shoot. That was... Things went from, like, fine to awful pretty fast. Okay, so we could enslave Psyche semi-reliably? I mean, not at all, but if we had a few turns to do it, maybe. Do we try to fight Psyche here? Do we run away and hope to find stairs? I think it's more likely that we would just find more enemies and get cornered. Could teleport. That would prevent Psyche from getting a shot on me, and I just want to get back upstairs. But, I mean, that Dagger of Distortion could send me to the Abyss, which... I mean, I would just die. That would be the end of the character, unless I were very lucky. So Psyche is a serious, serious problem. And I have to figure out what the right solution is. Not lignification. I mean, trees can't teleport, but I'm pretty sure they can still get abyssed. Like, you know, Distortion is a like... translocation themed attack. It blinks enemies and teleports them and so on, but it can't blink or teleport trees. So I think Distortion kind of ignores some stasis effects, so I don't know exactly. I'm kind of thinking that the thing to do here is teleport. I mean, Psyche is just one of those things that she's very fragile and has high damage output, especially if you consider Distortion as instant death if it rolls Banishment. So this is not the fight I want to take. I only have 2 Scrolls of Teleportation, but on the other hand, I only have 1 life, so... You kind of would rather use Scrolls of Teleportation before you use up your only life. I could throw a couple of javelins first, and then, like, if they killed her, I could save my teleport. But I think it's quite unlikely they would kill her, and then I'd just be leaving some javelins on the floor that I might want for some other combat where they're more relevant. So... I guess we teleport. Okay, there we go. We're out. Now I gotta find Enslavement. It's pretty good. Dithmenos, alright. Don't care. Remember, we're looking for stairs up. As soon as we see one, we are leaving. Crocodile, is that lair? I don't want to deal with that right now. I'm not really leveled enough to go to lair. And there could be other more powerful Guardians of Lair in the general neighborhood. A hungry ghost and a bunch of skeletons. Okay, let's just kill the hungry ghost. Don't starve to death, please. Okay, that's fine. Why all the zombies? I mean, this is good experience. I'll take it. A phantom. Alright. I'm trying to play very slowly here and cautiously. because we're in a bad spot in that we are 2 levels deeper in the dungeon than we should be. And there's a known like psychopath on the loose in the form of Psyche. There's a lot of zombies here. Huh. Beats me. And so any misstep could cost quite a bit. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to eat, you know, some permanent food or whatever, but it's not a big deal. Yeah, let's just do that now. Let's eat bread. More orc zombies. It's only orc, ogre, and like, is this some sort of undead themed entrance to orc maybe for some reason? I don't know if I've seen one of those before, but maybe I have. I don't know. Orc is 9 to 12, so it could be here. Now there's a wraith. Ugh, let's just not go there. Up, let's go. All right, food is great. All right, let's explore. We're still looking for stairs up. There it is, stairs up, okay. Zom's little shaft trick survived, right? We're now back to where we wanted to be, yeah. Level 9, good. Oh, let's learn Blink, learn Blink. Learn E, yes, Blink. And, oh, I have a shield now, so the casting chance on it went way down. Oh well, it's still good to have, even though I'm not going to be casting it now. If I quaffed Brilliance, that might lower the chance enough that I can use Brilliance as sort of a substitute for a scroll of blinking. I don't know. I don't know if I can lower it from 99% to like an acceptable percent, but that's an option to consider. And it's better than not having the option. Is there any other spell I want to learn? Like, nah. Repel Missiles is pretty good, but I don't want to spend the points on it. Not the spell points, but the skill points on Charms and Air. Like, Translocations, Blink is just, it's good enough that it's worth doing that. I think I've mentioned in a previous video that some of the most powerful stuff you can do in this game involves moving things from one place to another place. You know, it's a little bit more subtle than Firestorm, but it's, you know, extremely effective. To like, oh, there's something right here that'll kill me. Well, let's just not be right here then, right? And a lot of the time you can do that by running away. But sometimes it's not really possible or not safe, and it's better to be able to blink multiple squares at once. And that's why Scroll of Blinking is such a valuable resource. And Scroll of Teleportation is pretty good. I mean, it's really good too. There's Okuwaru, all right. Don't like either of, I don't, oops, closed the wrong door. I don't like the Null Sergeant, and therefore I didn't want to get the Orc's attention. Because he was going to shout, and then the Null Sergeant would be on my ass. Okay, so we're done with Dungeon 7 for real. We can go to Dungeon 8 now. Oh, let me just mark this as lair. Because I think lair is on 9. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, let's try to kill this orc to make a path to the orc priest. There goes that. Let's back up again. There, now the wizard is sort of neutralized. Okay, now all the kobolds should be no problem. Any blowguns, guys? I really like blowguns. Oh, well, let's take away that thing annotation on layer dungeon 8, 9. So we just found the real lair. I don't think it can be a mimic anymore. It used to be the case that there were lair branch mimics, but that's real. Okay. I don't think that it could be a mimic anymore. I think they took that feature away, which is too bad. I thought it was fun to have branch mimics, portal mimics especially. You're like racing through the level because there's a labyrinth making ticking clock noises or whatever, and you get there and it's like, LOL, it was not real. Yeah. Let's wear it. Yeah. Sure. I'm losing 1 armor, which is too bad, but I'm gaining fire resistance. And negative resistance. I don't know. Neither of those are that useful in lair, but, you know, it's fine. Oops. Back up. Knolls. They just have clubs at least. One of them has a whip now. One has a halberd, so I don't really want to quaff lignification, which I wanted to do otherwise. But okay, that's basically handled now. There's the gnolls and the shaman. And one of them has a halberd. Could back up. Yeah, he's hasted one of them, so we should be able to isolate that one, basically, by virtue of it catching up. But I think even better is to just run away. Can he might other? No, just haste. Yeah, see you later, gnolls. Okay, is this a staircase that's safe to use? It is. As safe as anything ever is in this game. Nope. Just don't want to go anywhere near the killer bee. The centaur would be alright, except that he's near the killer bee. I could get adjacent to the centaur on the turn that he sees me, so he never gets... Oh, he didn't even wake up. Rip. How much do I have train shields? Is it 9, I think? 9. Okay. Cool. So I can unexclude this centaur. Just leave the killer bees as problems on my map. Yep. All right. Goodbye. Okay. If they're coming at me one at a time, that's kind of okay. Yeah, I'm very sick. But bees are too dumb to open doors, and also their little claws wouldn't work. Couldn't get a good grip. But I don't know, I guess they're pretty big bees. Maybe they could. More bees. I don't mind killing bees one at a time. In fact, if I can get the chance to fight a bee one-on-one, I would rather not run away, because that means I won't later run into the bee in a big pack of bees. Swarm? I guess bees come in swarms, not packs. So I think Oops, pay more attention. Which one has the halberd? This one. I'm going to just clear out this floor, get ready to go to lair, and call it an episode. It should be a pretty short episode, I think. I'm a bit sleepy for some reason. I don't know. And I don't want to make a mistake and end this character, who seems to be doing just fine. You know, I've made it past what for a lot of characters is the big hump, i.e. like dungeon 1 through 4. After that, ooh, it's just not, let's not go in there, I guess. After that, you can still certainly die. There are lots of ways to die. The game is just full of them. But it's a lot harder to run into ways to die that you can't figure out how to prevent. Okay, so there's the killer bee. 3 scrolls though. Oh, the greed is real. I have enough time to walk in here, see if throw a rock, listen to how many. Actually, let's throw a javelin. He's asleep. It could do quite a lot of damage. I didn't hear any other buzzing noises, but there they go. Oh yeah, okay, great. So let's just take this guy upstairs. My little gamble there, hoping to find the scrolls somewhat unguarded, didn't really pay off. I don't know. I mean, I'm not dead, so in that sense, it paid off just fine. Spear of Freezing, huh? What have I done? There goes him. Now they don't have a pole arm, so they can't 2-on-1 me anymore. Okay, this guy does, though. Okay, there go all the gnolls that were causing me problems. Whoops, I just used the same staircase, but it looks like the bees just gave up. I don't know. Got the scrolls. Getting out of here. Heist of the century, huh? Those are crappy, awful scrolls. Those are all bad scrolls. I'm glad I've got that out of the way. It's weird that, like, I've seen this vault in practically every game on my channel so far, after having not really seen it that I could recall before. You know, it's Kiku Bakudga's mausoleum, just a bunch of closets full of dead things. Kiku Bakudga being the god of necromancy. But, you know, a lot of just sort of free experience, basically. And I'm still going to leave these killer bees alone. So, oh, an adder. All right, it doesn't make any noise. I can throw a rock at it to wake it up. Well, here I was all ready to wrap up and just waltz over to lair. But every step I take, something else shows up. It looks like the killer bees all woke up. So maybe I'll unexclude that area too. But I'm getting them one at a time, which is really great. And my skill training continues apace. 11 unarmed combat pre-lair is pretty good, especially for a troll. And here we are at lair. So that was a nice, not quite as short as I thought, because I was playing pretty slowly. But a successful video, right? We got Vehement really early. We're at 4 pips heading into lair. And we know where Okawaru is, so we can go Vehement, well, we have gone Bahamut. We can get the 6 stars of piety and climb back up to grab Okawaru. And the Wrath, as we discovered in the last practice game, I mean, it's worth reckoning with, but it's not such a big deal. We should be able to abandon by like level 12 or 13, honestly, which is pretty good. So, see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.